Greetings, everyone. Tommy here. I'm not going to go into a lot of garbage tonight, but somewhere in the world, it's the midnight hour. It could be late wherever you are, it might be early wherever you are. But I hope you can listen. Listen with something other than ego. It starts off, we all want to believe in something, good, bad, or indifferent, the way other people perceive it. But what do we believe it for? Why do we believe in it? I'm going to say what I'm speaking from is my inner self, my true self. Not the ego, not the mind, not the body. We all wish for a lot of things. We all want a lot of things. We get a lot of things in life. When we work with them, do we get closer to it or do we get further away from it? Money, do you get close to it? Children, do you get close to them? In this world, morals have deteriorated and are far gone. Beliefs are many, and beliefs in things that are very much just beliefs. A belief is accepting something that you don't know, don't really believe because you can't see it or feel it or touch it, but you accept it. So let's take that into a wide world of this world. We have so many things going on, and I want you to know, let's start us off with something really important, the virus. I'm not going to go into the whole story. Somebody was arrested in the United States that was working with China in the Wahi, or however you say that, Chinese place, getting paid top dollar to do that. While he was arrested, now they can confirm that China was responsible for releasing it. The second thing is, there's a simple cure for it. And they're paying all these doctors doing these high research. Now, I'm going to explain something simple. The native people, all native people, live with nature. Well, they used to, even that's being taken away from them. But whatever they came down with, whatever sickness, whatever virus, I don't need my glasses on to talk to you, whatever sickness they had or people got, they believed and they knew and they found the cure. There's always a cure for whatever it is, wherever you live. It could be a flower, it could be a plant. Who knows what else it can be, and I'm going to get into that in 1 second. But what they did to the native people and how they brought them here, and when they brought their people here, what they did to them. They poisoned them with their liquor. Native people can't tolerate liquor. It destroys their abilities to focus in a lot of things. Australia is a different country. They have different tribal people. Different parts of the world have different tribal people, but they're all in touch with nature. They look for their cures from where they walk. We have no place to walk to touch that. I'm in Hawaii. I'm on a stone. When I was on the mainland, I lived in Jersey. Beautiful place. And those beautiful places are the cures for everything that affects around that area. Native people say, whatever affects us, there's a cure for it. That's the way nature is. They came out with the cancer answer many years ago. Very few people do it, use it, buy it, or make it. But it's there. It's only one thing. But the problem is, we, as a world consciousness, if you want to accept that, create more toxics and problems for this world every day. More delusions, more fantasies, and everything else along the way. So how do we combat that? Well, families have children. If you care about a child, you would plan on having a child. It's not by mistake. Children aren't supposed to be mistakes. Well, we didn't have precaution today. No, it should be a wanted person coming into your life. That's where it starts. Oh, you're out on a date, you're out somewhere, they get pregnant. Oh, well, it's the wrong way to start a child's life. So a good soul, bad soul that come into this body, what do you expect to come into the body? What do you allow? I'm going to go really out there. Aliens are real, and they're reincarnating into this world. There's lots of people that believe they're aliens and don't know why. Lots of people say they are. And there's conditions and reasons. The same as a lot of people think they're a girl when they're a man, or a man when they're a girl. You reincarnate many times. Usually one sex most of the time. But when you switch sexes, then you have to adapt to that. And if you were a man in all your lifetimes, coming into this lifetime as a girl, it's different, or vice versa. That's one reason for what's happening. But the reason for children to become what they are is mankind. What we do to children, what we give to them. You don't spoil a child, that doesn't help them grow. But you do teach a child. Teach a child what? We don't have nothing to teach a child. Most people don't. Schools don't. And what do you give your child to learn and grow with? Computers that have horrible games for them to play, get them addicted, and then by the time they're 14, most kids already are doing drugs, smoking, sex, and everything. It's not like it's something you try to learn about or understand before you get involved with doing it, right? But when you pray, do you pray? Do you pray to yourself? Do you pray to God? Do you pray to the universe? Why? You expect something? Do you deserve whatever you pray for? Mankind has accepted the idea that God watches over us. And what's he watching over? Now, I'm going to bring so many things that people might not understand. If you want to learn about awareness, I can help you with that, because it's not the word that people use, fifth and sixth dimensional beings. They're not spiritual. All these people that say they're spiritual are not spiritual. What's spiritual mean? We have twisted these words to fit into our ego, mankind's ego, accepting it as reality. Now that aliens are coming closer to becoming mainstream, coming out, and people have to face that too, do you think it's going to help you understand yourself? Understand why you're here, where you're going to go, why you had a child, what you do with your child? Did you ever understand a child? You were a child once. Did you understand it? I went through abuse, so I had a really hard time with that all my life. Never had that peace and quiet or beautiful moment. But some people do. And it gets taken away, usually by the parents, friends, neighbors, whatever. School takes a heart away from a child. Because you're not learning about people, life, love, compassion. All the words that people talk about and say are so important. If they were important, it would be in every part of your life. You wouldn't go to war. You wouldn't kill somebody. You'd rather sacrifice yourself and go to heaven than kill somebody. But no, most people would never go there. And even when Jesus was he was sold out by his own people. But they even turned against him. If you could look at a person in the eye and they could stare you in the eye and look back, how many people can do that, really? Without blinking, turning their head. And I do it because people can't deal with that much in reality. But I'll be willing to stare them in the eye if they want to. If they're ready to look inside somebody else's consciousness. We are different. We are not the same. We do things that are different. We don't things that are the same. We're growing, supposed to be, into what? Warring creatures, sexual creatures, space travel creatures, whatever you want to call us. What are we doing? Spiritual. What do we do as a group consciousness? And I know people don't believe in God, Jesus, or the Bible in any great way. They say they do. If you believe in Jesus, do you listen to what he said? Anything he said? Not the programmed ideas, what he said. Well, my book, The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realizations, is out there. Read it. It'll open the doorway. It's not everything. I couldn't put everything in a book. You can't put God in a book. You can't put his teachings or Jesus' teachings in a book, really. You have to experience it. And not experiencing going out and getting drunk or beating somebody up or go to a football game. That's not experience. That's programmed life. Men have accepted sports as a reality, as it being important. Women have been persecuted for perhaps 30,000 years. What are they supposed to come out and do? They're being brainwashed at every second, and religions totally abuse them. So when we talk about world peace, you think aliens are going to bring us world peace? Well, one of the best movies I ever saw was The Day the Earth Stood Still. I mean, it was a make-believe story because it was about a good alien coming down to this planet and giving them the final warning, meaning you change reality right now or the world gets destroyed. Well, we're doing it slowly. We don't want to do it super fast, but we are. Everything government creates, everything inventions take you away from being who you are. And soon there's not going to be anything to experience except watch things experiencing for you. So all these people with stories, they're just stories. The Bible's filled with stories. There's a little truth in the Bible. I know you might be a Christian. Please don't run away. You need to find the truth about God, truth about Jesus. And I'll say it, and I'm going to say it till I die. Jesus was the most spiritual person to walk this planet. Why? Ask yourself that. Why? Why would he be? How could he be? Nobody in history, as far back as you want, except one time frame, I'm not going to say it, was there a real God? Aliens and deities were the gods for mankind for 30,000 years. And the only change in that was the past 2,000 years. Doesn't that sound strange? And in those 2,000 years, this being came to teach us, and how many people listened? They listened to the stories man wrote, but they didn't listen to the teachings of the man. The man, not the God, not anything other than that. The most spiritual teacher that ever walked this planet. To teach about something that nobody taught about, and that was God. Religions have changed it and ruined it and destroyed it at many levels. And what did they give us? What does it give you? I'm protected. I'm going to heaven. The twisted ideas, what that means to people. I'm going to go somewhere, and then see New Age people bring the word reincarnation, like, oh, it's the thing we do just over and over and over. Don't you think there's an end to over and over? How many times could you do a thing over and over? Watch Groundhog Day, and you might get an idea of what it means doing something over and over. When you know every single action, every single movement of every single thing, it gets boring. All right, watch Groundhog Day. It's a good movie for that idea principle. But let's go beyond that. Let's go into reality, into the truth. Where's your heart? Your heart, not the thing that beats inside your chest, not the brain that runs the heart of soul, which doesn't die when this body dies. How many people can talk about that? I can. I had 5 death experiences. I left my body thousands of times. I traveled for years and years in higher realms. And you can't compare any of this to any of that. There's no comparison. And something that you need to know, which people in the UFO world will never come to understand until the destruction starts, when they do come. They're not here to save us. They can't save us. They can't save themselves. Why do you think they would come to a planet with such limited beings called humans? We're going to teach them something? Or they watch us? For what? See how many times we get drunk, how many times we fall over, how many times what? What do they want to watch us for? The greatest inventions to come to this planet were given to us. Who gave Tesla everything? 2 alien races. Who gave Einstein any ideas on the alien race? And I'm not going to go into that in detail. I'll do a show on that one day, but not now. I'm more concerned with what you're going to do with your life and what's happening. This virus is killing people. People want to think it's fake, it's this, it's a clone, it's make-believe. It has something to do with 5G, which it does in one way. But in another, guess what? The cure for it is so simple. Will they release that? Not now. They got too much control, too much. I don't want to get into the New World Order either now, because that's nothing spiritual. It has nothing to do with the importance of soul, which what you are. What's going to happen when you die? What happens to your family when you leave them? Well, he's gone. Now, what can you do for them? Nothing. You're not going to come back and put gold on the table for them or any of that. So you should be taking care of your problems before you leave, not after. Well, I'm going to get my money when I die. Is it going to be enough? Is money ever enough for anything? Not if you're in love or if you're true connection to spirit. Money means nothing. So the rich people are facing a reality that's not real. People that think they want to be rich are being pulled into the idea. Who do you think's controlling all that? Something that nobody can talk about. Nobody wants to talk about it. Satan. Not Lucifer, Satan. Two separate entities. His army's here. They march around and just use people because people are so unprotected spiritually. You go into a bar. The energy in that bar is so negative. It permeates your body. You could see it if you want to look at it. Walk into a house with somebody that just sees you, just sees your aura. They can see it. If people wanted to see people's auras, they'd be so disgusted. I was empathic for 2 years. And I'm not making this up. There's no reason to. But I could see and know everything people thought and felt in their little mind. And it was never good. I could be walking down the street and walk past a person and he's going, well, I want to do something. I would turn around and say, what the freak do you want to do? He goes, what are you talking about? I said, you just said something about, he goes, yeah, I didn't. And then they suddenly realized that they didn't say it out loud. But I did it once a day because I didn't believe it either. I said, there can't be that many sick people on this planet that have nothing going on in their consciousness other than getting more money. How about thinking about where you go when you die? Because it gets better after you get past the astral plane. And please, the astral plane is where every soul goes before they go anywhere else. They stay there for a period of time, 5, 10 years, and they come back here. And it's not your choice. Your choice is to make a better life for yourself in the present, not by money, not by fame, not by fortune. It's by becoming aware. Please, tell me one aware person out there that can talk about God. What are you aware of? If you're not aware of God, you're not aware of anything. You're aware of a dream, aware of an illusion. You want to live in that illusion? Fine. Do whatever you want. Be whatever you want. Because you'll come back and do it all over again and not even know that you did it. You can do it over and over. Things might change, might look different. Still the same idea. I'm free. Free to do what? Control has been given to man by ego and by races that took over and destroyed Atlantis. And I'm aware of all my lifetimes. Are you aware of any of yours? We all had them. Christians don't want to believe in reincarnation. Jesus talked about it, but they can't put that in the Bible. They didn't know what Jesus was teaching, so how could they put it in the Bible? Jesus was speaking about the worlds of God. Is that in the Bible? Oh, in my Father's mansion. In my Father's mansion, there's many rooms. What does that mean to you? The bathroom, the kitchen, the bedroom? That's all you know. That's all you can perceive. But there's levels of awareness of soul when it grows and becomes better than what it is in the moment. Because it knows it's not that. And the closer you become aware what soul truly is, you rise in awareness. And that's how you slowly become spiritual. I had 5 death experiences, and each one changed and showed me many things. But when you get into reality, where are you going? What are you doing here? Telling stories? Let's talk about UFOs. Let's talk about aliens. Let's talk about Bigfoot. It's cool. But let's talk about life after death. Let's talk about birth. Why is a person born again? Not the religion, but why do you come back again? You're not going to choose where you come back. Simple little way to understand people don't have control of where they come back to. If you're rising in awareness, you got a better chance of coming back into a relationship, meaning your family's children, But that's when you become slightly aware. Unaware, you could be born in Africa, China, Germany, Russia, with no legs. You could be born a lot of different ways depending on your karma. But you're coming back with no awareness. That's sad. It's like getting dementia in this lifetime because they don't even deserve the memories that they were given in this lifetime. Imagine that, going through your whole life, you're 75 years old, and you lose everything you remembered. And now you don't remember. What a horrible way to die. Nothing's worse than that. Because you don't even know where you're going, where you're leaving, what you're leaving from, any of it. So people get their karma. And it's not because of me or you or anybody else. Every soul creates their karma. By being a part of something or by being separate from it makes you different. When the president says we have to kill everybody in China or Russia, and everybody hops on a plane or missile, rocket, whatever they're using, drones, and start flying over and killing everybody, is that justified? No, we're in hell. And I know people hate that word. Oh, we're not in hell. Why? Because the ocean's pretty, trees are pretty, mountains are pretty. So it makes it heaven. Do you have a clue what would happen and what it looks like in any form of a heaven? Well, I'm going to be at the table with my family. Really? You think everybody has the same karma? Everybody goes to the same place? Everybody does the same thing? And if you don't believe in heaven, what do you believe in? Nothingness? I've become a star? Wow, I'm going to spend this whole life working to become a star. Not a star on Broadway, a star in the sky. We're so delusional. We accept those delusions as a people. Why? There's so many better things or greater ways to go. And love, sure, it becomes the most important. We're told it's the most important thing. Love did not exist really until Jesus came here. You don't see how Jesus taught love in the Bible, do you? You know why? Because he was loving with Mary, and he married Mary and had a child. But could they show that as a spiritual person? Why? Now, get this straight. Jesus' followers, his disciples, were all married. And then when Peter, Paul, sorry I'm bad with names, became the Pope, the first Pope, from then on, they weren't allowed to get married. Why is that? Why would you think that's possible? Well, why do you think Jesus would tell his disciples to leave their families? Now think about that. If you're a Christian, you really need to analyze what you believe in. Why would Jesus tell his followers to leave his family, their families? Think about it. Come up with an answer. Make sure it's a good one, because probably what you're going to come up with is a delusional lie. And it's real simple. They weren't aware beings. An aware person can't be with unaware people for a long period of time. It's like walking around with an ant colony and trying to teach them to fly planes. How long can you do it? Forever? People want to do what they do forever, and they love it staying here because they're caught in the trap. Now, one religion calls them the 5 passions of the mind: lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. But then again, that's not it. I call them what they are: sex, drugs, drinking, partying, cheap thrills, sports, and then their idea of love. How many people fall in love and are truly in love to the day they die with each other? How do you love somebody and then stop loving them? You didn't have to love in the first place, because people don't know what love is. And you have to take that to the first step of what is true love. Loving God? How do you love God if you don't know what it is? If you know what God is, then it's a lot easier to love it. It's not the programmed idea of what you hear it is. So please, I do a lot of shows. I get into a lot of topics. But if you ever want to find the truth or get into it, dig deeper into it, or get answers, please come on my show. Debate me if you want to. The truth's here, but nobody wants to hear it. They want to believe the lies that aliens are good. There are no good aliens. Sorry. Well, there's good and bad people. No, they're not. This world is filled with bad people. It's hell. When they become good, they leave. So you think all these angels want to go sit down in hell? Watch the movie Lucifer. It's really interesting to take on that. But what do you think they want to come here for? Hang out with evil beings? Sick. You ever look at a person and see their aura when it's dark, black, and gray with holes in it? That's just their aura. Anybody can see anybody's aura if you want. It's easy. Try it. But reading their consciousness is really scary. Because no matter how beautiful they say they are, when nobody can hear them, and they really believe nobody can hear them, what goes on in there? Sex is the most evil, twisted thing among mind. And it's the most important thing. Why do you think the Muslims have to say that they're going to go to heaven and meet with 50, 60, 80 virgins and have sex for a week straight? Is that a desire? Or is that a delusion? And they're willing to die for that. Now, the way they abuse women, even in the Hasidic Jewish religion, in religion, has accepted the story of Adam and Eve because men were here first, and then woman was taken out of his rib. Really? No. So what do you want to believe? Where do you want to get your facts from? People? Books? Well, this was written by people in 30,000 years ago. The Sumerian tablets, the Emerald tablets. There's a little bit of truth in some of them. But who wrote them? God? God didn't write anything. Moses wrote the Ten Commandments. Moses wrote 613 laws after that. Imagine that. They can't live by 10 laws, and they created 613. Read it. He had so many things you couldn't do, and if you did, you were bad. And he believed whatever was bad, you had to cut it off. So guess what that meant? But it's twisted. And in the Bible, I'm going to tell you one horrible statement where it says Jesus admits that Moses was right. No, he was wrong. Jesus didn't believe in sacrificing the body, what Moses did. Jesus had a lot of people killed. Jesus never did. Jesus never killed a person or tried to kill a person. So there's a big difference between the two of them. And if you worship Moses, that's your choice. Who was his mother and father? And then you go into the stories of the Enochian, and the Anunnakis people. Really? The only races that are here now or not here, wherever they are, wherever people think they are. And they're helping us or they're destroying us. Well, again, aliens can't change us. Or hybrids, and they're talking about all these clones. They're not human. The second you separate your body from soul, it's no longer human. What makes a baby become a human is when soul steps inside it. It can happen anytime before the child's born. Usually not till really close to the delivery. Because two souls don't usually occupy one body. And they can't. When a person gets possessed, their soul has to step out. I did Ghostbusting when I was 16. I did hypnosis. I did past life readings when I was young. I got involved with all that. And I proved everything was real about it, which made me afraid of a lot of things. Not afraid the way you perceive it, just that I have to watch every single thing that I do. I'm accountable for any word I tell you, whatever I say to you. And you do it and you die. Well, I'm responsible for that. Oh, no, he just did it because he wanted to. No. If you don't hand a person a gun, they can't shoot themselves with it, can they? You give a person a loaded gun and say, well, I'm going to tell you how to use it. Really? Do you know how to use it? You shouldn't be. So we have accepted this horrible conception of what life is, what's good and what's bad, what spiritual means. But let's break down your feelings in your whole life. What is the most important feeling you ever had when I gave birth? I'm sure you were super happy when you were given. I'm sure it was the greatest feeling. But seeing a child, seeing a little baby, I mean, that can be. I didn't have a child. I had 3 women around me that were pregnant and lost the child forcefully by their will. It was horrible. But it destroyed my relationship too as well. But when people have abortions, I know you can't do it. There's a time when you can and a time when you can't. And there's a time when children are born, and this is what causes, they call it the 2-week death, when a child dies right after birth. All right, because there's no souls on this planet that can absorb the karma that that baby has, that soul has. So it can't stay here. A soul can't be pushed into a beautiful family and a beautiful life when they were mass rapist or murderer in the past life. But that's the only one born that has the really close to their karma. Really close doesn't cut it. And when that happens, it has to leave. So yeah, crib death was a reason why it was here. But sadly, listen to this number. There's 150,000 people dying daily. There's 300,000 coming in daily. So there's more souls coming in than leaving. Now, let's go to the idea we can choose where we come back to. You die. I go to heaven. Well, I'm going to go back to my family. What was your karma? What did you do? Why would you want to do? Why do you think you deserve to go back there? All right. You can listen to these speakers talk about that. They have no clue. They don't know about death. They haven't been there. They haven't seen the other side. They don't know what's in the higher worlds of God. I was 14 when I went to my minister and asked him what's heaven look like. Well, nobody knows. What's God look like? Well, nobody knows. Maybe nobody knows what you're even talking about, right? So I left Protestant religion. I studied the Catholic religion, Jewish religion, Hare Krishna, Jehovah. I mean, I studied them all. None of them teach you anything about a real God. And I think that's scary. Now, people said, you shouldn't have fear. You should have fear of one thing, and that fear is of God. People don't. If you don't believe in God or push him out of the picture, it's not a him, push it out of the picture, guess what? You don't have to be responsible with nobody. So you have total freedom to do whatever you want. At least that's what you think. If you're in hell creating karma, you will never leave. It's not washed away. No psychic healer can come over. Whoosh, your karma's gone. Doesn't happen. When you're ready to move on, you start working out your karma. But it takes lifetimes. You don't do it in one lifetime, usually. So, where am I trying to go with all this? Trying to give you an idea of what's happening to the world and where we're going. We're going nowhere good. Revelation talks about end times. We're in it completely. What's going to happen? John wrote Revelations, and basically it was his prophecy. He wrote all Revelations. So think about it. What did he mean when he talked about the colored horsemen that come down and the battle between the goddess that's on the chariot and all that? Was he talking about a reality of reality of real abilities to happen? Or was it a metaphors, or was it relating to something different? Well, when a man translates that, it becomes something different. So when it was rewritten, it was something different. Unless you stood with Jesus, you have no clue what he said. I mean, really, there's a guy, I'm not going to say his name, he doesn't speak, he just stares at people. And people are flocking to him to get healed and everything else. Does he do anything? Does he say anything? No, just... No, people think, and their mind says this is happening. And things happen in their mind. But your mind creates a lot of things that happen to your body. You can't create being spiritual. You can think you create being spiritual, but you think by getting on a ship and traveling with a bunch of aliens, they're going to make you spiritual? I know the stories inside and out. The new ones are so much more exciting. I'm not going to say people's names, not today. But the ones that say, oh, the aliens show me the past, present, and future in videos. Does that make it real? If I created a video and made you see it? Really? Well, we want to believe this, that, and the other thing. Believe you're destroying our children. Mankind's destroying what love is. They're not making it better. They're not doing things for the human race in any good way. The virus, I wanted to say that first. The cure for the virus, which I thought was real from the start, boil water on the stove, put your head over it, inhale the vapors from that, or go to a steam. Uh, we have steam vent-ins here and things like that, but go to a steam room and stay there for a long period of time, not just run in and run out. Let your body go through something, because your mind does. When it's in pain, suffering, that's what the native people call Sundance. When you force your body to let go of soul, and soul has to react. But go in a steam room and stay there until you can't breathe. But it'll kill the virus completely, no matter where that virus is. If you're home, stay in your shower. It probably won't get hot enough, so that's why I say boil water on the stove and keep your head over it and inhale that. Inhale it into your lungs. It will kill the virus. Like I said, it's a simple element that's around us, everywhere. Things that cure us are with us always, including God, but not the way we perceive it. God doesn't come down here to planet Earth. It's light and sound does. And that's why people always talk about the light and sound, but they never talk about how it gets there, what it goes through, the worlds it goes through, because they never go through those worlds. The astral plane, where you attain bliss, is a beautiful place to stay for a short period of time. Being one with everything and one with nothing. Knowing everything and knowing nothing. That's the space you're in. But there's a time when you say, hey, I want to be something, I want to be me, which makes you separate than all that idea that you're one with everything. You could accept that. Believe you're one's with aliens, one with the bad race, the good race, where we're not all evil. Very few are really good, giving. Now, I want to go into that real fast. The idea of just giving away money, that makes you a spiritual person. Giving away money thinks you're going to buy your way into heaven. And I repeat this. Jesus said it many times in reality, 3 times in the Bible. It's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. Rich people, are you listening? No. You wouldn't be billionaires and trillionaires if you were. You wouldn't be sitting on that kind of money while little children are starving, being abused, killed, and every other horrible thing going on. Because you are rich and I don't have to get involved. I can close my eyes and it's all beautiful. Rich people don't look at reality. They live in dreamland. They get on a cruise, get on a plane, go wherever they want, drink and eat whatever they want, wherever they want, anytime they want. They're not forced to live 8 hours a day in the job, work really hard, come home, eat, and go to sleep, to get up to do the same thing the next day, which most people are ingrained in. And the most people I talk about is only about 6% of the planet. Well, 90% of the planet don't even have that. They don't have food. They don't have a roof over their head. They're being abused. The children being slaughtered in a lot of ways, sold into slavery, sex, and even body parts. Think about the world that we're creating now that they passed in Japan and I guess China, where they're allowed to clone humans and animals. What do you think is going to happen? Take a wild guess. And it's going to happen. Talk about aliens, we're creating them out of us. Our mind is already programmed to the max. What do you want to do in the future? You only have one. You only have like one job, and that's going to be fixing robots and the computers that work them until they can do it themselves. And then you're totally useless. Why would they pay you to work one day if they can have a robot work 7 days a week and not pay them anything? Or whatever, the object. People don't think of the future. Oh, we're moving into a beautiful one. No, we're not. We're moving so far away from nature, life itself. We don't need the toys. The toys take us away from who we are. The games keep our mind focused on anything other than what we are. Life's to keep us here. That's what Satan's doing. If we all left, Satan wouldn't have a world to play in. Would he? So that's why he keeps us here. It's not like the stories will get you and burns you up and things like that. That's all story. Soul, what you are, is not this body. This body is set to a time frame which is 125 years right now. And then it dies. No matter what you do to it. But in the interim, soul steps out of that body and it moves into its astral body, which is the next body soul steps into to use. It takes 5 bodies to get to where it originally is, called the soul body. And that soul body is what you truly are. And it's not where you have to stay either. But there's no sense talking about that until you get into the mental and etheric and the third and fourth worlds. Does it even come close to reality in any aspect? You're no longer male or female. So the concept we call God he for how long? It's brainwashed into people. Well, he's watching. He is? You mean he looks like us? That's where the phrase God created us in his image? No, man created God in his image. Ours. So it's a man, but it's not. I mean, women's right want to make it a woman, but it's not a woman either. Doesn't have sex. Doesn't need to. Well, God had a creative idea how things are going to multiply, and it was sex. All animals and creatures have sex. But do they put it as the main part of their life? In the wild, animals do it, what, twice a year usually? Depending on what kind of animals. The spring, fall, time when they hide their children, bring them out, feed them, leave them. Some families stay together. Dolphins are pretty much humanized. They got a brain exactly like ours. Evolution's the most ridiculous story ever told. But their brains like ours, and they think different, but they think a lot like us. They work with us, they care about us, and they can help us. But that's a whole nother topic. What are you leaving for your children? You died today, right this second. What do your children have? A memory of you? Is it good, bad, or indifferent? What did you teach them? Or you'll meet them up in heaven when they die and you'll be sitting at a table having dinner again? Is that their goal? Die, have dinner again, to be with the same person that they were with 40, 30, 20 years, depending how long? The concepts of life and death of man in general is pathetic. Look at the little munchkin walking around in back of me. Pop. Alright, it's his bedtime. It's my bedtime too, but I just felt the urge to do this tonight, in the night, when the energy is so different. The moon energy is so different than the sun's energy. And that's why the native people call it goddess, the moon, and sun, the man god. I'd like to do ceremony. I have a legal native right to do sunrise ceremony. I studied the other side, the moon side. I got the 4th level. Men can't go to 5th level in the Native nation. We have a lot of things to learn in a short period of time that we have to do it. And do we learn any of it before we get closer to the day we die? How many times? I'm just counting the days. I mean, I love my partner. I don't want to leave her yet. I worry about her if I did die right now. But I do the best I can to take care of her the best I can on that when I do die. But the idea of what's going to happen to me, am I worried? No, it's going to be the most beautiful thing. Now, there's movies that stem around different parts of that, but they bring it to reality. There was a movie just came out on computer, The Healer, and it's about a guy that's a healer, but he didn't know it and didn't want to be. But it's based on a story based for Paul Newman. Paul Newman set up these schools for children, and that's why I want to do this too. We don't respect children. Men and women don't respect children. It was a lot different when I was little, a lot worse, but it's not much better. I mean, I was beat when I was little all the time for no reason, but I was prisoner in my house, couldn't watch TV and all those kind of things. And then I had abuse happening in my life, all those. So yeah, my life was twisted in when I was little, but I didn't let it destroy me. But I'm a man, and men can deal with things a little bit different Women have a lot harder time to deal with it because they're more in tune with nature, love, compassion, and all those feelings. Men aren't. They say they are. Now, whether it's, here's the thing, and I'm not trying to say this prejudice. Gay men are a lot more in tune with compassion because they're tuning into a past life and they understand it a lot better, even though women were always abused. All right? And they still are. And they're sex objects, they're not love objects. And then again, if it's a love object, it's like, well, I don't want to go into that. It's just pathetic what men think. And I'm talking about 99% of the men that I have ever spoke to. So, are we going to open our eyes anytime soon? We're going to let the world deteriorate, become this victimless, formless void of human consciousness and let it become part of this alien reality or just dark side? We still can change it. Right now, tomorrow. We could start tomorrow. One person died. Black people are changing the world because of that. Well, they slaughtered thousands and Native people at a time. Wounded Knee, but they weren't allowed to do anything because they were forced on reservations. If they left the reservations, they were killed. They didn't have a way to fight back. And just so you know, they created our Constitution. Part of it, most of it. And they weren't allowed to even be part of the Constitution. They were Native government property until the early 20s. They couldn't use government utilities because they were private property of the government. The stories are just sad. I mean, Black people talk about persecution and that, but nobody talks about Native persecution. We have such a twisted moral, twisted-sided. Why is the world, the United States, so into having Spanish words, Spanish signs, Spanish, everything's done in Spanish? You're not hear it done in Native, not done in any other language, is it? Sure, you can use a computer to translate it now to any language. Where are we going? Do you expect an alien to walk in this room and say, hey, I'm going to give you everything you need to know? Like what? What can you tell me? What can any alien tell me or show me? Show me a piece of their ship? Show me what? But I think mankind has to realize that it's a part of our reality, and it's not a good part. They've been here for longer and longer and longer than us. And they didn't make anything better. Why is that? You're a spiritual person, claiming to be. Here's a simple scenario I use. When you have your boy or girl with you and you're walking towards a corner, the lights change in color. And your child starts running. Now, do you let him run out in the middle of the road to see if he gets hit or not? Well, you said, well, maybe he could beat the light before it changes, is what the child's thinking they could do. Now, there's a choice. They could either stop or run. Based on that decision, creates a total different reality in their life, good or bad. But as you being a watcher, are you aware of that? It's your teachings that help that child grow, whatever they are, pathetic or not, good or bad. How many people can teach their child about protection of energy? Think about it. Can you? Do you know what it is? Do you know how to teach a child how to read a person's aura? Can you? Do you know? There's simple little things that we have the ability to do, which we don't do. And if you look at people's auras, you can tell what they are instantly. Look into a person's eyes, you can see right into their soul. Soul can't lie. Soul is what it is. You can't say it's Batman when it's the soul of you. So, I don't know what you want to do with your life, but all I can say is it's time, and you don't have much time, to take the new step in a new world, new reality, closer to the truth, and stop listening to all the lies. The story sounds super outrageous. It's probably a story, and just that. The stories in the Bible, some of it are based on some of the truth. When Jesus said it's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to go into heaven, it was based on it. He gave a parable of what was actually happening so that they could see the image of what that meant. But you can't relate an image to a higher spiritual reality. You can't explain a realm that the mind can't perceive. So when you talk about the astral plane, well, it's a table and chairs and my mother and father are sitting there, and my aunt, uncle, and no, it's not like that. And these psychics that read energy is dormant. It stays here for a while. And you could read that energy, and that's what they're reading. All right. When you're standing there, your energy radiates that. They can read that. Nothing outrageously important. So if they say in your drawer you got a diamond ring in the back corner, you know that, and he's just tapping into that. Or your father, because you think that. When he tells you your father was a space cadet, he went into a rocket, flew to the moon, and came back, and nobody knows that, and he tells you that, guess what? He had to read something different because you didn't know it. But again, when a person dies, their energy stays here for a period of time. Oh, I see my father by the coffin. I see my father in my room every day. Or my grandfather, whatever. It's energy, residue energy. Soul moves on. I know my mother reincarnated back to this world pretty fast as a boy. So it's not like you have to come back or you can't come back as what you want. Because those starving people, the 90% of the people on this planet that are starving, homeless, you think they want to come back and do that again? Oh no, I want to be a rich person when I come back. And then you think every rich person that dies wants to come back and be a poor person? But the number of poor people hasn't decreased. In the United States, rich people are increasing because they're attached to money. Money keeps them here. Think of Satan's work. If you understand that, you would understand why people want money, that are delusional, that'll say they're spiritual. I hope you don't think I'm crazy. Maybe you do. That's your choice. You ever want to debate a topic on God, spirit, Lucifer, demons, Bigfoot, anything? I experienced it all. It's all real. But how real is it in your life? And how much do you need to let it play as a part of your life? Without God, there is nothing. If there is no God, what is universal energy consciousness? A sick, perverted, twisted energy here in this reality. If you want God to be that, that's your choice. Even if you prayed 10 hours a day the rest of your life, would that make you spiritual? Praying doesn't make you tune into God or even the higher angels or the higher deities or anything like that. Deities are real. I actually worked with 3 of them. Not that I wanted to. Not even I knew what I was doing when I was doing it. It took me years to find out who I was actually working with, one of the deities. So there's a growth we can go through and learn and understand and help us understand everything. Think of some famous speaker, UFO speaker, spiritualist comes out and says, you're here to let go of this and become your higher self. Really? You are what you are, soul. You want to let go of this. You have to. All right? I wanted to get to love a little bit more before like I said, I don't want this to be a long talk, but love is important when you love God. If you're going to die and think you're just going to be reincarnating, it's like you're God because you can just come back and do what you want. Then what would the purpose of God be? God created the different realms for souls that become aware, one at a time. We did it with kindergarten, grade school, college. Why? Because there's steps you take to grow, whether it's grow physically, mentally, psychically, spiritually. They're all different. School doesn't help you grow spiritually at all. So if you put in 8 grammar school, 4 high school, 4 college, another 4 years for another college, what do you learn about anything spiritual? Nothing. So in this time frame that you have left, do you want to meet an alien and go on a ship? Oh, that'd be so cool. Then what? You die? Did it help you? Well, he's going to show me everything. Is he? Are they? We have so many programmed ideas that we accept. The government has its own mission. I don't want people to attack me in general, because I don't say anything that's really going to hurt them if they listen to what I'm saying. But I do attack people that put lies out there. Do you think God created this world for a reason? Of course it did. Will you ever understand that reason? I doubt it. Not in this lifetime. You should be somewhere in between that already. Well, I know why I'm here. You're supposed to what? Become aware of yourself as soul, that you're not this body. But then again, what do you do when you realize that and you're in this body? Serve time. Do the best you can. But stay focused on that. Because you will die. And you will be going somewhere else. And if you're lucky, you can stay there. But if you think going to another world, we can't help this planet, the human race. Can we help it in another reality? Or another realm? Or another world? Any of them. You as a person, you think you can help that? You think you're going to by building a ship that can go to Venus in a day? What do you mean? Well, let's travel to Venus. I know there's a race up there. Let's go meet them. You think they don't want to meet us? And if they do, why aren't they here with us? We're not ready. When we're ready. When are we ever going to be ready for anything different? Never. Unless you're thrown into something, you'll never move into it naturally. Would you move into death voluntarily? No. Well, most people. I'm not saying there's things that cause short thoughts and limited thinking like suicide. I've been there. All right. There's things you can learn every which way. Well, you can't do that. You sin. And sins are a word used in the Bible. But what do they mean? Karma. Just karma. However you live life, what you do. You hurt people, it's karma. Let people starve in front of you, it's karma. I mean, if you're tied to a tree and that's all you are, that's all you are. But you can still leave that body. They can't tie soul here. Excuse me. So, I hope you got something out of this. I mean, this virus is really important to the government and China and everybody else. But remember, the cure is real simple. So if you're ready or know people that came down, my cousin had it, her son had it. Her children carried it and didn't get it, gave it to their mother. But she said she was having hot cups of tea and things like that start killing it in the body. When it gets into the lungs, you have to breathe the hot air into the lungs. Now the machine that they put on just puts water in there, and it's not hot water, so it can't kill it. It's like putting a fish in the lake. It's not going to die unless you put arsenic or some kind of poison in the lake that'll kill the fish. So all the diseases that we're creating are created out of our ignorance. The virus is poison, and we feel poison's the solution for disease. It's not. The dirt that we use to grow our plants in is void of a certain element and things that used to work with the plant. It all died out. The plants are about 60% less the vitamins and minerals they had 60 years ago. Do you understand what we're doing to the planet? I know Trump doesn't. I know other people don't care. Russia wants global warming so they can grow more vegetables and supply the world with food. It's a good idea in one way. When you change the balance of the world, you change reality to those things that are living within it. Nobody has the right to interfere with everybody else's reality unless it's invited in. Same with demons. You open the door, it can come in. Keep the door closed, it can't. You're told how to protect yourself from that and things, yeah. But if you're not, what stops an entity from taking over a person? Not much. Child goes to school and shoots a whole bunch of kids. Why? Well, I just felt like it. But he's a good kid. He's a good kid. You always hear they're a good person because you don't know the person. Did you look at his aura? Did you look into his heart? So there's so many things, simple things, that you can learn. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to go through that. Well, I'm putting out what I felt was important in the moment, like right now. but it's still the children that have to live here, and then their children if the world's still here. So think about what we're creating as a group, at a group consciousness, or a self-awareness state. Can you help anything? Things help things. Things help the things that are supposed to be helped, not the things that aren't. When a tsunami hits the shore, when an earthquake hits, it just hit in California. I keep my eyes on that. I keep saying we're going to get a really big one real soon. I mean, a 6.8 isn't big in my book anymore, because we're having sixes all the time, every week now. California had a bunch of them. They said it shook somewhere. But that's just today. It had like 5 today and a big one. Peru, Chile had a 6.8. So yeah, does it matter? People that don't see, don't hear, don't care. Unless it's on the news and they flash it in front of you 10 hours a day, and then you'll start hearing and believing it or thinking about it. So it's all a program in one way. If you accept it, it's really rad. If you don't, it's a good thing. But do you know how to do your prayers? Do you know how to do your meditation? Nobody has the right to control somebody else. So when you pray for the world, you have no right praying for the world. They all have their karma. They got to pay it. And you're not taking it away. You want to help somebody? You give them food and money. You don't give them prayers. People have been praying for people all over the world. Did it help them? Look at Tibet. One of the most spiritual places on the planet. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm never up this late. Never. Not for the past couple months. But think about everything I said if you can. If you can remember anything I said when this is over. Life's going fast. And every day you get older, it moves that much faster. So the things you need to learn, want to learn, I don't even have the time to do it anymore. So it's time to make a decision for yourself in this life. Follow the people out there telling you everything's cool and just step back and all this stuff. No, stepping back means you're stepping back and letting people kill people, rape children, and all those things. I'm on my 5th book. It's just about done. I need to help somebody to help translate it. Not translate it, but edit it. But it's going to be important, mainly for women. But please, it's time to really go out into the world and be who you are, not what people tell you you are. Don't do the things because you're told that that's what you have to do, or believe you will have to do it. Your parents can't tell you that and shouldn't. People around you shouldn't and can't. But are you basing it on money? Too many people base their future with money. Well, I want to buy a nice house and a car. And that's the way people in companies try to get you to work for them. Oh, you'll have a nice car, you'll have a nice house, and blah, blah, blah. Not about you being more in touch with spirit. You'll know more about psychic abilities and all those other words. I can talk about them all. And anybody wants to come on, talk, debate, please. Somebody was telling me not to invade or say anything bad. I'm not saying things bad. The truth isn't bad. It's the truth. Somebody's lying to you and saying you turn into a bat when you die. Do I have to say, yes, you're right? No. Should I say something different? Well, if that poor person's going to believe it, yeah. I hope you get what you want in your life. And I hope it changes every day for you, for now, for forever. And brings you closer to the truth of what soul is, why it's here, where it's going to go, what it's going to do, and all those things. It's easy to say what's going to happen, what you're going to do, but it's not easy to prove it, even to yourself. So with that, I'm cutting it short. Like I said, I don't want to go on forever. Just want to put you out there to maybe open your eyes just a little bit more. My My eyes are getting bad, get old, things get bad, they don't get better. Oh, if I took all these medicines and herbs, why? The body's supposed to die. Imagine you live 500 years on this planet. Do you want to see the garbage that's going to go on, even for another 25 years? Well, we each have an ability to say no. No to life, no to people, no to things that are going to affect you. The ability to say yes to God, and then understand what it is, or at least try to. The more you try, the more it'll allow you to experience what it is. But there's so many things you need to experience first. I'll say this, for me, there was 3 steps. First time I went to see God, an angel took me. Second time I went to see God, angel brought me there. Third time I was allowed to go by myself. You just can't travel. It's like saying you're going to go to Russia and travel around like you know where you're going. Take away your compass, your computer, and everybody else that's going to talk to you. How far do you think you're going to get? You're lost in one mountain in a short period of time. So there's always a better step to take than the one that you think you're taking. But learning how to do that, learning how to listen to soul is another thing I teach a lot. The right way, the wrong way. When you're given an instinct to do something, do you listen to your mind? Do you listen to soul? Something incredibly important in life and death situations. With that, again, I'm going to say peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life. Find the truth. The truth's the only thing that's going to help you. And when you find the truth, it's not going to be pleasurable while you're here in this reality. When you're in the next higher world, past the astral plane, it'll be better. Promise you. But you need to experience it yourself. So, till then, till next time. I usually do a show on Tuesday. I haven't been able to do it for the past 2 weeks, but hopefully I get to do it again. Tina from England was been abducted a lot. She comes on. We talk about that as well, and what that means, and what's really going on in the UFO world and aliens. I try to keep them separate. So, what do you say? Hi and goodbye in Hawaii. So till next time, Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island. So enjoy your night. Before you go to bed, ask for something good to happen. Try to bring something that you want into your dream. It's a great experience. I can go into a lot of things that are happening for me lately is incredible, but I don't want to talk about me. Life's about you. So with that, safe journeys.